Hey, welcome to the 49ers Roundtable. This was more of a triangular table, but it does the job. I'm Grant Cohn, Jose Sanchez, Leo Luna. There's a lot of stuff going on with the 49ers right now, so we're not going to joke around and mess around for the first 10 seconds like I just did. We're going to talk about football right now. Marlon Mack. The Niners signed Marlon Mack onto their practice squad. Marlon Mack used to be really good, but he tore his Achilles, and now he's kind of been bouncing around. Do you think Marlon Mack will make an impact this Sunday? Jose.
Is he even
Leo? Leo went first. I want Leo. He buzzed in.
Yeah. Marlon Mack this week, I think this week would be a little premature to say that he'll make an impact this week. Maybe if he gave you a little more on special teams, then sure, yes, he could be activated. But I think it would the running backs will probably be Jeff Wilson Jr., Ty Davis Price, as well as why am I blanking on his name?
Jordan
Mason. There we go.
Got you.
So I think it's probably going to be those three guys, and then you'll wait for Marlon Mack. It just comes down to one of those things. Obviously, Jordan Mason gave you the special teams abilities. Ty Davis Price is going to give you another running back option that is probably more comfortable within the playbook at this time. If Marlon Mack came from a similar offense, I would say sure, absolutely. Because then at that point, the verbiage is probably a little different, but he's coming from Pep Hamilton offense that's not parallel to what Kyle Shanahan's doing.
What do you think, Jose?
Yeah, is he even going to play? I mean, he might be a healthy scratch because we saw TDP get a healthy scratch today. Last week. They just ran with Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson, and Jordan Mason. So TDP would step into the Elijah Mitchell role. And what are the odds that Marlon Mack, they're going to roll 4 running backs? They're not going to inactive any of those other 3. I guess it's not far-fetched out of the idea that they could do it, but I'm not going to put stock in that. And even if he is, what is he going to do? Just be there for emergencies? I'm selling this. He hasn't done anything since he tore his Achilles. The Colts gave up on him. Part of that because John Taylor is a freaking beast. And then they found a role for Nyheim Hines. But, he's not – what's the impact here? That it's going to happen and you turn off the video game after on playing Madden? That's the only impact I can see him making on Sunday.
Wow, I'm actually buying this. I'm super optimistic about the Niners. I'm a big Niner guy this year. No, I like Marlon Mack. He played against the Niners in the preseason. They gave him 10 carries. He had 5.5 yards a carry. I thought he looked good. I know they took Rex Burkhead over him, which I would Rex Burkhead. And Dameon Pierce looked really good. I think Pierce kind of pushed him off the roster. But to me, I saw Marlon Mack just a few weeks ago. I like him better than Jeff Wilson Jr. And I like him better than Ty Davis Price. Ty Davis Price played in that game. Nothing against Ty Davis Price, down the line. But right now, I like Marlon Mack. I think the Niners could put together a running back rotation of him, Jordan Mason, and Deebo and win. That's, I think,
I like
running back.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I like Marlon Mack too. Yep.
In a rotation, give him 7 carries. See what's up. I think that's better than giving 7 carries to Jeff Wilson Jr. I didn't like what I saw from Jeff Wilson Jr. in this last game. But maybe it's, you say, it was in the rain. Everyone else ran well. Khalil Herbert ran well. Deebo ran well. It was just freaking him and David Montgomery just running into the backs of blockers. I'm sorry. So I kind of want Marlon Mack to suit up and to play. And to Leo's point, there's a lot of the playbook he won't know. Can't you give him if he's going to give 7 carries, be like, look, man, these are the 7 carries we're going to give you because we don't want to give him to Jeff Wilson Jr. knows the playbook, but do you really want to give him the ball? Do you really? Think about it.
They've had all this time to sign him, and all of a sudden they're going to incorporate him just because of the injury. The fact that they signed him because of the injury, which is, basic concept. Hey, one position went down. We got to sign someone else.
I know.
He's not going to get a role, at least not this week.
You're right. He won't, but he should. And if they give Jeff Wilson Jr. 12 to 15 carries just so he can give you 30 to 40 yards, and they're like, wow, I'm so surprised, then shame on them. Shame.
And 2.2 yards per carry.
Come on, man. He wasn't good last year either. We like Jeff Wilson Jr. He's been around a long time. Good story. Plays hard. Knows the system. He can block. He can run routes, but he's not the same guy he was since he tore his meniscus. I don't think he's good anymore. I think Trey Sermon's
that's okay to say.
Yeah, I don't think
it's okay to say he's not the same guy because his meniscus. That's okay to say. Injuries are a big thing to whether players succeed or just kind of, they don't get to that climax. Marlon Mack is obviously one of it. He was a guy in Indy, and then all of a sudden he got injured. They ended up with Jonathan Taylor. That was the book, and it closed there. So it's just
I feel like Mack has bounced back a lot better from his Achilles than Wilson has bounced back from his meniscus. But maybe Mack had more talent to begin with. In fact, he did. Didn't he go for 1,200 yards one year?
Yeah, he had a really great year for the Colts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look.
Didn't the Niners take Joe Williams over Marlon Mack? Did that happen?
That was when
they did. Sorry, but I think the Niners drafted Joe Williams over Marlon Mack. So it's righting the wrong.
You just love rehashing an open wound.
Maybe they could get Joe Williams. He's available. Hasn't played in a while. Fresh legs. Think about it.
He's probably.
Irfin says, "Have you seen what Mike Martz said about Trey?" Yeah, and we're going to talk about that, but bear with us. All right. Marlon Mack better get the rock on Sunday, or else I'm going to be very upset. John says, "Do you think the Niners should pursue Sean Payton if the season is ultimately lost?"
No. No.
Sean Payton's really good. Sean Payton's really good. Sean Payton's like one of those coaches where if he's interested in you have. It's kind of like Kevin Durant. Like, oh, Kevin wants to play for us. It's like, well, we got to talk about it. Depends on what happens this year, but that'd be interesting. I mean, would Sean Payton want to work with Trey Lance? Would he want to work with Jimmy? Maybe he's a Jimmy guy. They went to the same school.
They did.
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, no, that's a black hole right there. That whole conversation is a black hole. I think like some 49er fans are out on Kyle Shanahan, and because certain situations, and Sean Payton's had those same, like Sean Payton's had those same situations happen with him in New Orleans, where they were in a good position to win the game, and then all of a sudden something with clock management or just dialed something up completely funky. Like he has a lot of that on his resume too.
Yeah, but he won a ring though. I'm just saying, you can't dismiss Sean Payton. Sean Payton wants to coach the Niners. Hey, tell him, like you don't do that. You have to at least have a meeting about it and like have a PowerPoint presentation weighing the pros and cons at least. But I mean, that's a conversation you have at the end of this. Maybe Kyle wins the Super Bowl this year. Let's give him a chance.
If they were actually in the head coaching search, that he'd be in the talks though for sure. But that wouldn't happen even with the last season.
I mean, every team would want him, Sean Payton, except for maybe a few.
No.
Adam Gardner says, Grant, do you see the weather report for Sunday? Hasn't rained in months. Are you serious? It's going to rain?
It's like 50-60%
chance that
hey, but if any Bay Area person, all of us know that weather reports means jack to zero.
Wow. It's really going to rain on 50%.
That means nothing. You know, literally that every time it says rain, it'll probably rain for like 30 seconds and it'll just be overcast here ugly the whole day.
Well, that's so funny, man.
Another
time. One. Oh, that's bad luck. It's all What did the Niners do to offend the football gods? This is rough. Well, hopefully Marlon Mack can be the equalizer. That's all I'm saying. Black Orchid 772 is a new member. Thank you very much. Let's leave that up. All right. Let's get to the net. We're going to get to Trey Lance and Mike Martz, but we have to make you wait. Okay, so should the 49ers trade for Kareem Hunt? He's available. He's good. And Elijah Mitchell's hurt. I mean, it's an obvious question. What do you think? Jose?
He's available, like putting him on the block officially again? Because I know he was holding out, or he did an internal holdout, and they were just laughing at him for an extension.
Yeah, I guess to say he's available is a stretch, but
okay. Well, let's maintain that. I don't see why the Browns would trade him because they need all the talent they need. The same way that we love to prop up, like, look, Jimmy's an average quarterback and needs all the talents he needs, and the fact that they're out there starting quarterback until week 11 or 12, they need that guy desperately, and I need him for my fantasy team, so keep him over there. But anyways,
he might get more carries on this team, Jose.
He would.
You know what I'm
saying? I love him as he's a dual threat running back, and it would work out for the 49ers pretty well. It's just what's it going to take to actually give up for him? I mean, are you really that desperate to go at running back? I know they were. It's almost giving like resemblance of last year when they lost Mitchell, and then every other quarterback just fell off like flies. But ultimately, just stand pat. You guys are okay to look for running backs around the block. You've been able to figure it out and configure that. I mean, hell, Trey Sermon last year did pretty well against the Packers running game. It's just you just got to figure it out. You got to be able to scheme these guys open and just be a way to get over that hump. It's not worth surrendering draft capital at that point.
No, the 49ers should not trade for Kareem Hunt because when looking at the situation, if the Browns were to give up Kareem Hunt now, what is that going to cost you? Probably a second-round pick. So then the 49ers come draft times and be without a first, be out of a second. I don't think they want that as well. But then you also kind of just look at the situation. You have a guy like Trey Lance because he's supposed to enhance your running game with his threat of being a dual threat quarterback. So you also have Deebo Samuel that's going to help it out as well. You don't know what you have in Trey Mason in terms of regular season play. You don't know what you have in TDP in terms of regular season play.
Jordan Mason.
We just hype. What did I say right now?
You said Trey Mason, which I like. Somehow I like that.
Hey, it works.
I'm
it
sorry,
works. It's a combo. It's a combo.
I liked it.
I
liked it.
Yeah,
It was good.
I try to order a combo deal. Next time I'll get the burger without the fries. How about
until he gets a regular season carry, his name's forever Trey Mason. All right.
They changed it to JP though. All of a sudden they're calling him JP Mason. I'm like, wait a second. You can't just be changing these numbers and names all of the Sorry.
I think that's what throwing me off because now I'm hearing JP Mason in every single presser. So I'll go with that. I blame it on John. John, it's your fault. Sorry.
Okay.
But moving on from that, it's just you're going to have to give up trade asset. And also the big reason why he wants out of Cleveland is to get paid. The 49ers have not made it easy for any player to get paid. So it's like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So no, they shouldn't trade for Kareem Hunt. Do what you have in house. And the bottom line is Trey Lance is supposed to enhance your running game. So you got to trust what you have.
Let me just say something. All right. If the Niners hadn't traded up for Trey Sermon and then drafted Ty Davis Price in back-to-back years in the third round, wouldn't you kind of feel like they could do this? But since they did that, you're like, you can't keep giving up away like good draft capital for running backs. But if they hadn't done that, you'd be like, well, they need a running back. They haven't really invested in one in a long time, but they did. So now you can't. It's too bad because if they had Kareem Hunt, you'd be like, this team is stacked. But now it's like, well, maybe Jordan Mason is going to be great. Or maybe Marlon Mack can turn back the clock. The Niners are, or maybe Deebo Samuel can be a full-fledged running back. I mean, there's a lot of questions with this team right now. Or maybe Trey Lance is just going to have to carry the ball 15 times a game and be there. That's not great.
Yeah.
So, Kareem Hunt, ideally, yeah. But I think, what would it cost like a second-round pick at this point? It's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
And you don't have it.
They're at the lowest, but
so
probably get down.
Forget about it. Sorry, David the Prankster says, forget about it. Hey, Grant, recent fan of your work. Recent fan? What does that mean? That's all right. I wanted to point out that missed pass to Croft wasn't fully on Trey. If you look at Croft, the last 10 yards, his stride got smaller trying to find the ball. It's interesting, like with Lance, he can't win for losing. Like, so had he underthrown that pass and hit Croft and it not been a touchdown, everyone been like, well, that show was a walk-in tutty. And so that's what he did with Jennings, right? He like kind of was safe with the throw, didn't really lay it out there, just made sure it was complete. And everyone's like, hey, you missed a walk-in touchdown. So that's the thing with Jimmy being on this team and Trey. I just feel like he can't be perfect enough. When he completes the ball, like, well, you should have thrown it a little bit out further. You know what I'm saying? So I do think he should have hit that pass, but that's kind of underlining what I'm saying, like when he hit it with Jennings, it was like, well, you should have let him a little bit more. It's like
Jennings didn't break stride though, so I liked it. I was fine with that. I always look to see if they broke stride, like we saw plenty of times with Jimmy or any other quarterback. It's like, hey, if you didn't break stride, sure, should you laid it out better, but it's a fine ball.
A 44-yard gain on 3rd and 6. I mean, that's a big time play. Well, when was Jimmy giving you stuff like that? And you're saying, oh, it should have been a 60-yard touchdown. Well, yeah, absolutely. And maybe when Trey Lance is 24, that's what the result will be. But I'll take 44 yards on 3rd and 6.
Sure, maybe week 9. Who knows?
I'll take 44 yards on 3rd and 6. I mean, people are getting really like nitpicky with him, which is kind of funny because I think they're just butthurt that they were wrong about Mac Jones or whatever. Sean O'Leary says they need to play Danny Gray and get Ayuk out on some deep routes to pull back the coverage, widen the field, and open up the running game for any back and Trey. Yeah, man, I can't believe that. I think they just felt like, look, it's raining. We're going to win running the ball. Forget all that. That was a mistake. It's time to bring out the art. I'm not gonna say artillery, but like come on, you gotta the big guns. The big guns.
That's what I'll say. The weather conditions got out of control in the fourth quarter, but there was absolutely a place for Danny Gray in the first 3 quarters. To where it's not like Chicago's gonna see Danny Gray lined up and say, we're not gonna cover his fade route here because of the rain. No, they're still going to have to respect it. So that was kind of the frustrations that I had. It's like Danny Gray has the speed. You're going to have to respect. And it's not like no one has never seen a completion of Danny Gray. They literally saw it against the Green Bay Packers in the preseason. So they know that connection is there. So that was kind of the frustrations I had with his inactive.
Also, Kyle needs to get over like his obsession with yak receivers. That was a Jimmy thing. It's what you needed with Jimmy. Now with Trey, he's the opposite. You need guys who are fast to get open down the field because Trey's trying to push the ball down the field. So that means a little less Deebo in the passing game, a little more Deebo in the run game, a little more Ayuk in the passing game, a little more Danny Gray, Ray McLeod, those guys. Like, yeah, you want Jennings on third down and Dwelly, but on first and second down, Danny Gray needs to be out there, even if he's just running clear out routes. Like Ayuk needs to be the guy. He's the one winning on the outside and down the field. Anyway, Kyle figured it out. He's just a little slow sometimes. My opinion.
The defense to enacting Danny Gray is it was pouring like hell before that freaking game, and you even telling me, Grant, like there's a flash flood warning, JK, but it's still you just don't know the way it was going to play out. So
anyway, this week, I don't think there's going to be a flash flood warning in Santa Clara.
No, dude, it's going to be misty. You know how it gets around here. It's going to be probably like trickling a little bit, like for like half a second.
And you're seeing what Kyle likes to do on third down with Trey. 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5, go deep. Because a lot of times you get single high with someone down there spying Trey. Go deep. Jennings, Gray. I love that. Do that. Keep doing that. It's a good call. All right. Which running back do you think will start for the 49ers on Sunday? Not who should start, because we've been talking about that. Who will start? Get inside Kyle Shanahan's brain.
Leo. I think it's going to be Jeff Wilson Jr. Because I know you asked who will start, not who should start.
It's a good answer. It's a good answer.
So I just think it's going to be Jeff Wilson Jr. because he's obviously the most vet guy in the room there. You have 2 other rookies. One of them's an undrafted free agent. So it's and pass protection. Kyle mentioned about being able to, for these young guys to be in there and protect Trey Lance in pass protection. And I think that's ultimately what it's going to come down to. It has nothing to do with Jeff Wilson Jr., the running back. It's just, it's the vet in the room. It's the guy who's Kyle's going to trust most in a 3rd and 4 to pick up a blitzing linebacker more than anything. But I hope to see JP Mason in there quite a bit.
JP.
Starting running back is gonna be Deebo Samuel. It's gonna have to be Deebo Samuel out the gates. To be honest, I don't care if it's the actual name starter. It's gonna be him.
Yeah.
Because, the way he was used Sunday was already just enough shock to me. But yeah, I think that's gonna be who they're gonna go with. If not him, the other alternative is gonna be Trey Lance, since he had the most carries outside of Elijah Mitchell. Shoot. Look, no, honestly, no, it is going to be Jeff Wilson. And I'm not trying to harp too much on his poor week 1 performance because I'm just like, look, it was 1 game. Let's let some time because he has shown he could be a sufficiently efficient running back there. And as much as that game was pretty bad, like I was like, hey, you know what? He deserves slander, but I'll give him a wash for that week. I'm sure week 2 he could probably do better or should do better. Otherwise, over time, then if you're Kyle, you better start thinking about putting other guys. I just hate how he just doesn't incorporate more other running backs like he used to in the past. Like, what's up with him like workhorsing these players again?
What is going on? You used to have a committee. Why not
I don't get it anymore. It's not like you have a clear stud running back anymore, especially now with Elijah's out. Now as Elijah's out, I don't want to hear no more about like 19 carry Jeff Wilson.
When they went to the Super Bowl, they rotated 3 guys. Crazy, man.
Yeah.
You guys are right. It's going to be Jeff Wilson Jr. And maybe it's fair. I mean, he's been on the team. He had 1 bad game. I don't think he played well last year, but it's like, give him 1 more chance. But it's like, give him a quarter. You can't just give him 20 carries and say, oh, hope for the best. If he doesn't show anything in a drive or 2, give someone else a shot. Mason, Mack, anyone. Because you got to know, you can't really evaluate running backs in practice. You got to see it in a game. And we've gotten almost 2 years of evidence that Jeff Wilson Jr. doesn't have it anymore. If he has it in the first couple of drives, cool, roll with him. Otherwise, you got to find someone else. Deebo, it's got to be Deebo or Mason or someone else. Otherwise, you're going to lose to the Seahawks and start 0-2. This is very important. And I know Kyle wants to talk about pass protection and all, but like you want to run the ball 37 times a game, man. Who's going to take up those carries? It can't be Wilson if he's not up to it. So it's got to be figured out, man. Figured out.
The hot hand. Sure. It's got to be the hot hand. Like whoever's
find the
out
hot
there
hand.
picking it
That's
up.
your job.
Yep.
That's it. Find the hot hand. All right. We're sticking with the running back spot. Will the Niners increase Deebo Samuel's running back usage while Mitchell is out? On the one hand, you're thinking it's week 2. I don't want to do that. On the other hand, they're 0-1, and he got 8 carries week 1. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, but I would think I was thinking this last Sunday. I was already surprised he got as much carries as he did. I mean, I know the rain permitted it and conditions said like, "Hey, we need this," but he kind of was getting carries even early on, right? Like, because I
Yes.
was thinking
He fumbled on the first drive.
yeah, he had
Yes.
it was like, wow, you're going, and then you went to him again quickly, like, okay, like shoot, you guys are
It's
just
pretty
going
clear
back
whenever
to
they get in the red zone, that's their running back. Like he gets the carries in the red zone.
they're going back to Weapon X like nothing. Remember, they used Deebo as the emergency role. We're desperate for a spark, and it was like, are you guys that desperate? Elijah Mitchell's still out there. You know, the weather is still kind of fine. You could probably just throw it a couple more times, or mess around with some more trickery with faking it to him. I was the thing. I was a little when I saw. So I think it's going to increase. I think it already has increased. He had 8 carries. I don't recall too many games where he had like that many carries last year towards the later part of 2021. So it could get up to the point where he's getting 10 or 9, and that becomes at that point like Jesus. Make sure you're giving him only a couple targets in the receiving game. Then,
yeah,
I don't think it'll increase. I think it'll probably be a constant because he didn't rush the ball for more than 8 times last season, and last year was his big.
He did in the playoffs, but that was
year.
the playoffs. He did in the playoffs, but that was the playoffs.
Correct.
He had a couple 10-carry games. Yeah.
But as I'm talking about regular season,
Right,
so
right.
that was his breakout year as the wide back, and 8 was the cap every time. So I think that's probably going to be the cap, although it's not a cap that Kyle Shanahan sets for him. It's just kind of going to be one of those natural way, because we could argue that a tunnel screen it counts as a rushing play. Yes, it's a reception in the stat book, but you are getting the ball behind the line of scrimmage, having to advance it. And usually you're going to have to break a tackle or so to make anything out of it. So I think Deebo Samuel, that's like in terms of carries, 8's probably going to be like where he's at. I don't see it going much higher than that. If it is, maybe 9. But tunnel screens, I think that's probably where they're going to hit more with Deebo Samuel, or at least the big ones. Because this was type of the like Trey Lance didn't complete it this game because it's with that wet football, you get it and you're expected to release it immediately. So it makes sense why it was a little inaccurate on those things compared to when he's in the pocket, he's able to grip the football before he releases it. So I think we're going to see, a little more tunnel screens more than anything from Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, I don't really think they can increase his usage. I mean, like, I think they kind of feel 10 touches a game is the most they can do because his touches are so violent. I mean, there's such huge collisions, and he does have a history of breaking bones and of injuries straight up. So, I mean, you could give him 15 touches week 2 and you might win, but you also might lose him for a long time and then you feel stupid. So you really shouldn't. I mean, that's why you got to see what Jordan Mason has. That's why you got to see what Marlon Mack has, because if you're just going to be scared and be like, well, I don't want to play who I don't know, so I'm just going to lean on Deebo and Jeff Wilson Jr. Well, you might lose Deebo, all that stuff. So yeah, I don't think they can. I think 8 carries, 2 catches, maybe. Although if Kittle's out, you might need to throw to Deebo a little bit more. So I think they're
throw to Ayuk.
He's not the magical savior in the running game. Yeah, throw to Ayuk, right? Throw to Ayuk. Ayuk needs 10 targets a game, straight up.
I'm flabbergasted by
10 targets.
Yeah. That's the most frustrating thing within the offense. Yes, I understand the weather, guys. First 3 quarters, there was enough in there to have a somewhat passing game. And when you look at other teams, look, Devontae Adams with the Raiders. Look at the target share he got. Justin Jefferson, look at the target share he got. Look at around the league. Yeah. Every team's top receiver, which, the 49ers, I think, have 2 wide receiver ones, but it's like Ayuk having 2 official targets is a waste.
I just feel like Ayuk's a better fit with Lance than Deebo is at this point, because Deebo is really good, but Ayuk's better before the catch and at the catch. Deebo's better after the catch. Deebo's better over the middle, although Ayuk's really good over the middle. I feel like where Trey's throwing suits Ayuk better. His shot chart, his passing chart. Anyway.
Jeez, Leo, are you saying that Kyle Shanahan should be using his best players? Crazy concept.
Crazy.
Imagine if you thought about that. And look, that's what I love about that part too. The first 3 quarters was not raining, and like Leo said, I get the rain. It's like, yeah, Kyle, we get the rain. It wasn't raining, so adapt and realize, oh wait, it's not raining. Let me actually adapt and throw. Isn't he?
And he was throwing down the field. It was working, and then he stopped.
I don't get why he adapts at times and then doesn't adapt. I don't get it.
Took his foot off the gas. 9 Wolfcast says, emailed you about working together, but your email's probably stacked. It is. If you ever need to fill in, okay, we got to see Lance in good conditions. Hey, call in the Cohn phone, bro. Call the Cohn phone. Trey's gonna get hot midseason and go all the way. That's kind of what happened to Russell Wilson his first year start. He kind of got his feet underneath him, and then halfway through, that's probably should be the expectation. That's what Jimmy did last year. Smelly Smells 559. Smelly Smells. That's hella funny. So, trade Jimmy G and Mike M for a right tackle. Man, there's a trade package no one wants. Hey, do you want our right tackle who limps around between plays and our backup quarterback?
Who could limp
Cowboys
around?
actually might take it.
Hold on, let me sweeten the deal for you. Let's add Mike McGlinchey. Sorry, Mike. Okay, let's talk about what Mike Martz said about Trey Lance. Hold on, let me cue it up real quick. This is the high-tech portion of the show. Shares.
Oh, good.
You can only get better because you can't get any worse than what he did today. Good throw. Oh, right now they're a team without hope. I want their eyeballs. Yeah, I've never seen anything about this kid that was encouraging at all. He really has to plan himself to make a good throw. He's not a quick decision guy. Everybody's shot in the rear about him being a mobile guy making plays with his feet. He looked like a fullback stumbling around trying to run the ball to me. He's not Lamar, so I don't know what he is. He's not particularly a good guy running with the football. And based on what I saw today, I mean, he missed two guys completely by themselves. I know it was in the rain, but quarterbacks do that. You make those throws. I know this. He can only go up. He can only get better because you can't get any worse than what he did today. I've never liked him. I still don't like him. I don't know. I'd like to know what he does so well because he's not a great passer, doesn't have good skills, takes him a long time to set himself and throw the football, misses easy throws, and he's not particularly a good runner. Other than that, he's a hell of a player.
That was hella funny. That dude's hilarious. Anyway, what do you think of that? Instant take. Man, he had jokes.
The funny thing is, he hopped on 95.7 the game like some months ago and said, "Oh, I love this guy." So it's like it's just what we talked about last week about the national media bullcrap. It's just the same thing. Like, oh wait, low-hanging fruit. I need to grab some of that. Let me get on this action. Oh, by the way, guys, I never actually liked this guy. He can't move, he can't throw. He's a fullback on wheels or whatever. That was a good comment. The fullback on wheels. I was like, hey, you know what? That's a good use of a little bit of adjectives right there, buddy.
He's killing me.
I mean, when I think of that, I think he's out of the league for a reason. I think he's an old man for a reason. He's washed up the old place of thinking and everything. It's just who cares what he thinks, because you're going to get all these old, especially old coaches who are going to say, I don't see the point. Why doesn't he stand in the pocket? There's a reason why all of them like the statue quarterbacks, which is the reason why all of them are prehistoric, just like those coaches are. That's why they're out of the league for the first place. It's just they're just all dead in the water. They're all moot points. It doesn't matter. The only one opinion who matters is just Kyle Shanahan, the coach is there, which is why they keep rolling him out and see him for a reason. So Mike Martz, relax.
Why is this guy getting airtime? Why?
Attention grabber.
Why? Because he said what he said about Trey Lance. That's why he said it, because he knew if I get in on this conversation, I'm Mike Martz, people will pick it up and they'll talk about it. Grant Cohn will talk about it. Damn right I will.
Worked.
Hell yeah, it worked. Thanks, Mike.
Last time he was coaching was here, the San Diego Fleet for the AFL. Brunskill was actually on that team, I think.
Wow.
But it's like they were terrible. They were terrible. Ain't no way I was going to a game, and it was just Mike Martz, dude, what? We're giving him the NFL coach and former NFL coach, which he was. But can we just erase that title? Is it okay to erase people's titles eventually when it has been so long?
No, man, he won a ring. Hold on. I'm not taking anything away from Mike Martz. He won a ring, but does he strike you as someone who's watched a lot of Trey Lance?
No,
of course not. I mean, what he did was I'm guessing I watched a few clips from week 1 and just decided to go on a rant, and I thought it was hilarious. But on the other hand, it was kind of sad. It's dude, you're a Super Bowl winning coach. Why are you doing this? Do you need attention? Do you need money? You should be living it up in San Diego. What happened? Because even the presentation on it was funny, but he was also kind of slurring his words a little bit. It wasn't the best presentation. I don't think it came off that great. Now, if it was a bit for Saturday Night Live, let me talk crap about every quarterback, that would be funny as hell. That would work. But that's not what this was. It wasn't intentionally funny. It was unintentionally funny, and it was like tragic comedy. You know, it was equally sad and funny at the same time. You know what I mean? You're not really laughing with him. But anyway,
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
why
like
he
if
would
you're
have
gonna bash him.
Yeah, why?
If you're gonna bash him, like he legit like dragged Trey Lance there, right? Like his name.
Now, to be fair, he got
name.
Justin Fields too beforehand.
Yeah,
to
he
be
did,
fair,
but I'm saying it's like he dragged Trey Lance as if he was like terrible that game. Trey Lance had more positives than negatives that game. It's like, what are you doing? The pass to outside the numbers to Juwan Jennings, the over to Brandon
throw to
Ayuk,
Ray McCloud
over
was one of the
to
best
Ray
throws the Niners quarterback has made in a long time.
Yeah, he
That
picked
was
up
a
a
crazy
3rd and 13 with his knee or with the running the ball, and he had contact like 3 yards short and made it through. So it's like, what do you mean he's not gifted runner? That's not easy to do.
He's so dismissive. He's like, well, he's not Lamar Jackson. Like, oh, okay. So he's not the best running quarterback of all time. All right, fair. That's true.
We've never seen Lamar Jackson before Lamar Jackson, and we won't see Lamar Jackson after Lamar Jackson. Like,
it's just interesting to see someone be so dismissive of someone. It's like, hey, man, you better hope Trey Lance isn't good because that clip's going to follow you around the rest of your life. You better hope. Because did you say something like that about Josh Allen? I remember real quick one time I was interviewing Scott McCloughan on the record before the 2018 draft, and I was asking him who he would take #1 quarterback overall, and he said Baker. And I was like, well, what about Josh Allen? And he said, on the record, you really going to trust some kid from Wyoming? It's like, damn, dude, like that's the level of depth you want to. It's like, dude, have you seen him throw football, man? So that, I mean, I wouldn't argue with Scott McCloughan, but these are the kind of, you got to be careful. I've said stuff about Kellen Mond I can't take back. You understand? This is serious. This is real life, Mike. You better hope. I said some stuff about Trey I can't take back either, but that was a long time ago. I'm just saying. Sean O'Leary says, excuse me if I don't take quarterback advice from a guy that backed Mark Bulger then Trent Green. Those guys had decent years. What about JT O'Sullivan? Sorry, JT. You have a cool YouTube channel and stuff, but I remember watching you play. Mike Martz tried to give you the job over Alex Smith. That was a joke. Mike Martz didn't see it in Alex Smith either. Mike Martz, again, he won the Super Bowl, but what is his career without Kurt Warner? Tell me that. He had a nice little time with Mark Bulger, you know what I'm saying?
Journeyman OC.
Todd Harris says things will be different when they get on a dry field. Deebo's cuts were slow. Trey throwing wet ball and receivers catching wet ball. Lots of penalties. Trey should clean up. They should clean. It was ugly, but not worried. Yeah, I agree with that. One more thing about Mike. What's upsetting about that is like you're a coach. Coaches are teachers. Teachers are supposed to like see the best in like, dude, that's a really cynical way to look at someone. You suck. I would never like, I don't know. The coaches I always talk to look at a guy with talent. And they're like, with me, if I were coaching him, he'd be great. And to be that dismissive means like, well, you're definitely not a coach anymore. That's why you're not a coach anymore, man. You can't have that mentality.
Old man way of thinking. That's why. What?
Whoa. The biggest red flag there is when he goes, I never liked him. It's like, okay, so obviously, like, you're not gonna point out.
Yet he's on record saying he liked him. And yet he's on record saying he liked him. Hold on. I want to go back to what Todd said. I was thinking about something else. Things will be different when they get on a dry field. Deebo's cuts were slow. Trey throwing a wet ball, receivers catching a wet ball. One thing I want to say, bonus topic. Okay, he's doing a bonus topic. So Kyle Shanahan did not have the Niners practice with a wet ball last week. Asked about it, said, nah, he just didn't do it. Justin Fields and the Bears did. They talked about it, and they won. Last year, same thing with the Colts game. Niners did not practice with a wet ball. Colts did. They won. Now, that's not necessarily the one reason. But in terms of preparation, isn't it time for Kyle to maybe think about these little details, like maybe the next time, like this weekend, for example, it's going to rain again. Maybe practice with a wet ball. It could get you 1% better. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's fair. Anytime you could give yourself, I see you shaking your head, Jose, but anytime you could give yourself some little bit of an advantage in a game, that's what the NFL is about. So it's like, you knew it was going to be terrible. I don't know about this week, but if it's even going to rain, because sometimes the rain, all of a sudden it rains on Monday and not Sunday now. But it's like Chicago, you knew it was going to be a downpouring game. Yeah. You should have had a wet football there because not only for the quarterback, but also for the receivers. Maybe Trey Lance hits those quick tunnel screens out to Deebo.
Maybe Deebo doesn't fumble.
Just quickly, catch and rip. At that point, compared to he's not catching and ripping until he does it in a game. So it's like maybe those little fine details would have advanced. But I guess we won't know until Kyle Shanahan gives it a try.
Fumbled in the
Which maybe-
first drive.
Yeah.
Just saying.
You got that punched out. I'm not sure how wetness is going to change that. But second of all, I don't think the wet ball would work last week because are we just going to ignore that it was 100-degree heat in Santa Clara and that ball was going to dry in like a matter of 5 minutes? Everything was like nuts, dude. You couldn't put water on anything.
All you got to do is just between every play have a water bottle and just douse that. Every minute, every 30. I mean, it's better than not doing it.
You're gonna have to let that ball get in there and actually like put it in a water bucket or something.
It is a drought. Maybe they didn't have enough water to do it. It's because of the drought. They were just trying to be conscientious.
Yeah,
for the environment.
It's more than life. It's more than football, Grant. Football is not life, okay?
I'm just saying they might want. Hey, they're 0-2 in these rain games. And they got another one coming up. They might want to think about it. Just saying. Ethan M says, why do you think Kyle repeatedly goes away from the run when it works? It's almost like he doesn't game plan, having to use multiple running backs. Yeah, that's it, man. He had it going with Mitchell. Mitchell went down. He's like, all right, well, if it's Wilson, if it ain't Wilson, it's nobody. And it wasn't Wilson, and he panicked. That's crazy to me. I don't know.
I loved when they ran a triple option when Elijah Mitchell was in the game at that point. Granted, it picked up like 8 yards. It wasn't something big, explosive. But hey, if Jeff Wilson was running the ball, he the way he was, why don't you implement some options in there with him? With Trey Lance either keeps it or he tosses it to Deebo on a sweep, or like you confuse the defense a little more. Maybe he was a little conservative because of the wet ball, but
that's probably what it was. That's probably what it was. Trade Jimmy G for Uncle Rico. Them Mountains have no chance.
Cowboys already signed him.
Hold on, there's one more. Merkin says everyone's saying Jimmy would have won. Go rewatch Colts game last year. You can't tell me Jimmy was the better quarterback that game. Lance is closer to Wentz than Jimmy. What's crazy is I was on the radio in Maine. They're like a big Jimmy G spot over there, and they're saying like, so don't you think Jimmy would have won that game? I was like, no. They're like, how could you say that? I was like, what? You really think Jimmy would have won with no Kittle, no Mitchell? Like, what was he gonna do? He would have thrown like 2 picks. Sorry.
What would he have done differently?
That's what I'm saying. He would have thrown more picks. All right. So according to Pro Football Focus, Trey Lance leads the league in big time throw percentage at 6.9%. Nice. So what that means is like a difficult throw down the field into tight coverage. And apparently, that means he had 28 throws, about 7%. I think we're talking 2 throws. McLeod down the field and Jennings down the field. Anyway, so it's like, let's not go crazy. But still, apparently he leads the league. That's good, right? All these, like Mike Martz says he does nothing well. Apparently he does make big time throws, which is something that Jimmy doesn't really do. He enables yak, which is good, but I like a quarterback who makes big time throws. Do you think, how much stock do you put into this stat?
A lot, because I think even last year, the limited time playing he had, there was a stat, was it Next Gen Stats or something? So many people retweeted it, but basically Trey Lance had the higher yards per throw or whatever, stuff like that, like more than any other Niners quarterbacks since even like Cap or even before that, and nothing that Jimmy G sniffed. So I know this one I could take stock in because of that, and also literally those balls he threw were pretty much like, I thought those were big time. I'm like, oh, that's a big time throw. Like I literally said that out loud while I was watching. I was like, that's a big time throw. Could Jimmy G do that? No. So I like reading into those because that did mean something, and that's a little bit why it's you didn't want to think about try using these plays a little bit more, Kyle. I mean, like I thought typically when you hit that Ayuk play, I was in the presumption that coaches will highlight or circle that play and be like, we're gonna go back to that later or flip it or do something else, but we never saw that. That's ultimately to me why, like, and this stat also feeds into why I don't think Lance deserves any blame in this game, because if you watch that game, like how can you watch that game and think Lance deserves anything of type of criticism, considering that, the running game is supposed to be helping him, the defense, and none of those helped him. But this big time throwing percentage shows that he led the league and he actually was delivering his part. What more can you ask for in a guy in his debut in the monsoon?
And everyone's focused on the miss to Croft. It's like, yeah, he hit like 3/4 of his downfield throws. What's he supposed to do? Hit 100%? I mean, that's like saying, oh man, Steph Curry was 4 for 5 from 3. What a bum. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, go ahead, Leo.
Yeah, it's huge because when you look at this 49ers offense in terms of the running game, it's going to be at the top of explosive runs in the NFL year over year. That's going to be a constant. What they haven't had is that big time throws from the passing game. So now you're able to expand this offense more. And that's the whole reason why Trey Lance is starting for this factor. So yeah, it's huge. Look at the weather conditions in that game. Look what he was dealing with in that game. Hell, he couldn't even set his feet in that game. Same with the offensive lineman. And yet he was able to deliver 2 beautiful throws to his wide receivers. So that's what you get excited about. If he's doing that in those weather conditions in Chicago, what can he do in normal conditions, either in Santa Clara or in SoFi Stadium, where it's beautiful weather conditions every single game? So it's like, yeah, like this is huge. This is big because this is just game 1. There's 16 more to go. Let's see what happens.
I like that. You know, Trey Lance isn't a great quarterback yet. He might be a great quarterback one day. Jimmy's not a great quarterback. The Niners don't have a great quarterback. If they did, they could win with their passing game like the Rams did last year, but they can't. They have to win with their defense and their run game. And the thing with Jimmy is he doesn't help the run game. In fact, I think he hurts it. He's not involved. It's 10 on 11. And he doesn't throw deep. So you get these 8-man boxes that he doesn't take advantage of. Single high safety, he doesn't do anything about it. And you get to see, you saw it in the playoffs. I think he hurts the run game. So now you get Trey, and you like obviously just the threat of him running helps the run game, but the big time throws down the field are huge. You see it. A lot of single high safety he's getting. Third down, first, and whatever. He's getting a lot of single high safety, and he's going to exploit this until they back off. And when they do, if you play too high against the Niners, they're going to kill you with the run game. So I think this is why Trey does make the offense better. It's why I thought he should have been the quarterback last year. When people like just kind of nitpick his like passing numbers, it's like, man, you're missing it. Look at the whole offense. Look at the impact he has on the whole offense. It's the runs, it's the throws down the field. It's how he stretches out the whole field. I think this is a big deal. And I guess it's only 2 throws so far, 2 or 3. But
did it without Danny Gray and George Kittle.
He hasn't even played with Danny Gray. He's gonna see a lot of single high. He's gonna see a lot of quarterback spies. It's gonna be a long time before people are gonna like, damn, we gotta back off Trey Lance. We gotta play. Dude, it's gonna be a while. Like Patrick Mahomes gets that treatment. The Niners are a run-first team, and everyone knows it. So Trey's got opportunities to go down the field, and I think Kyle's going to scheme him up. He's got good players. I think this could be a thing for the whole year. What?
The completions help because this, as long as you're threatening, you're giving them that thought of mine. That's like, oh God, they're capable of doing that. I mean, they didn't complete it, but that doesn't mean they won't go back or they're not capable of doing it again.
And I don't understand why Kyle would be calling like 4, 5, 6 yard passes for Trey, man. Like, he can run for that. He could scramble for 9. Like, stretch the defense and if he needs to check it down, his check down is him scrambling. He doesn't need to be throwing these Jimmy G passes right now. It's not really his game. It's a whole new offense with a whole new quarterback. That's all I'm saying.
And also he was under 50% crowd. Okay, how many quarterbacks make those downfield throws? That's true. Now, if he was under 50%, and made no big time throws, then yeah, sure, you could have, twisted whatever narrative you wanted. But he was under.
He was 8 of 14 through the first 3 quarters, though, before the monsoon hit. He was 8 of 14.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
With drops.
Yes.
At least 2. Yeah. So
and
again,
so
I don't think Mike Martz watched the game.
Like, no, I don't think so either.
You live in San Diego with Mike Martz. Would you go over and be like, respectfully, Mike? Come on, let's watch the game. Let's watch the game film together.
Go interview him, Leo.
Leo, I would probably hold his head and be like, here. Watch it.
I just feel like Mike Martz would be a lot I just want to say that
Coach.
Mike Martz seems like he'd be a lot of fun to hang out with. I feel like he would talk hella shit, and I feel like that'd be hella funny. He would talk hella shit. That'd be so much fun. I'm just saying. Todd Harrison's buckets of water. Sorry.
I was going to say, I know it was on local TV, so he had an opportunity to watch it.
People are mad at him too. I just think it's funny and sad. I'm not mad at him. Like, he has to maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. He was so dismissive. I would not want to film myself and put that out in the world like that, but that's on him. No. Hilarious. Todd Harris says buckets of water, you dip the ball in everyone's hands, including receiver gloves, before every play. Yeah, if you want to conserve water, that's a good way to do it. Or you could just have all the people, with water bottles just spray it on their hands and the ball. But that would probably waste water, which is I'm not in favor of that. Not me. Not me. I let my lawn die on purpose, not because I'm a bad lawn care owner, just because
Your lawn is green as hell.
Scott, no, it's terrible now. Scott says the Niners are looking to redeem themselves this Trey breakout game. Niners are 4-1 in week 2 under Kyle. I think Kyle gets their attention with the loss in week 1, and then they come out. Do you have a life-size picture of the defense doing what they did last week 2 weeks in a row? I don't.
No.
I don't. I think Gino's going to have a bad time. Big Tone 707 says Steph Curry is Steph Curry, though. Only person who wins in the Bay Area and saves failed 49ers experiences. He is. I'm just saying people are really upset about like Trey not being able to hit like the mid-range jumper right now. He's hitting threes. You haven't seen the quarterback shooting threes in a while, to mix my metaphors, but that's what's happening. Why do you not want that? I want it. Like, so Jimmy and his mid-range jumpers, like, great. Sweet. Niners daddy says, is it going to rain on Sunday? I can't take it again. It does seem like it's going to rain on Sunday, which is quite funny. Frederick Peterson says, do other quarterbacks get judged the same? Burrow example. No, I've never seen a quarterback get this level of scrutiny. 3 starts, and people are like, nah, he needs to never play quarterback again, even though it's like you could actually say he's done a lot of good things.
How
Very
dare
funny.
he ever touch a football?
Who does he think he is?
Disgrace.
I want to ask about the defense. It's a great defense. It's an elite defense, and it leads the league in penalty yards, like consistently. Last year, it led the league in defensive penalty yards by 100. This is an elite defense. And now this week, it pretty much lost the game with really, really undisciplined penalties from vets. Why is this an issue for such a good defense? And it's been an issue for why? Why? Explain this.
Last year, you had Josh Norman just, getting PI consistently. And
Another
then
vet.
this year, it looks like Dre Greenlaw wants to fill that role for Josh Norman. I'm watching Dre Greenlaw there. Like I was hoping he would turn the corner after his rookie season. But like I want to see Aziz in there next to Fred Warner moving forward. Drake Greenlaw just jumping in there with the guy that already has 3 guys tackling the running back, and then he wants to pull his face mask. Like, bro, that's not going on a stat sheet. Like, you're not getting credit for that tackle. You'll get credit for the face mask, though, but you're not getting credit for that tackle. What are you doing? And then I'm also thinking about like run fits. He's missing out on that completely. A lot of it was, like Drake Greenlaw. He's got to shore himself up. If he's able to do that, then maybe they won't lead the league in penalty yards. But I look at the 2 things. Last year, Josh Norman, and then this year, obviously Drake Greenlaw looked like he took the baton from him on this 4x4 replay.
Pretty sure last year the Niners led the league on maybe not when it was all said and done, but for a large portion of the season and pass interference yards, it was nuts. Norman,
yes.
Thomas, whoever the hell they had back there, it didn't matter. All those penalties were pretty egregious outside of the weird, like Javon Kinlaw holding 2 people. I was like, wait, what? Like, you calling holding on that? That was a little ticky-tack to me, but everything else kind of felt like was a punishing penalty. And I think I mean to say an aggressive penalty. So you have the face mask, you have Aziz's hit on field. You have Greenlaw coming in tough as a bullet on the sideline. You probably should have pulled up a little bit more. You got Ward's PI who's being grabby. I think a little bit it's kind of like the 49ers' own doing a little bit where they're trying to preach too hard about, we want to be aggressive.
Break.
You want to hit these guys a little bit.
Yeah.
When really it's like, especially in the rain game, when you're
slow down.
Heated, you're going and firing. That grass is not going to tell you to slow down, dude. That's going to give you like a 50% speed boost.
That's right.
A little bit should have been like tapered down. Like let's put a little suppressor on this pistol we got here, guys. We got to be a little chill out because this is only going to benefit them. And sure enough, it did because they gave them every single opportunity to win that game. And the Bears just said, "Okay, cool. We're not supposed to be in this position. We'll take it."
Yeah, I agree. Look, I want to go a little bit further. It is the mentality, but like Robert Saleh had the same mentality with this defense, all gas, no brakes, and yada, yada, yada. I still feel like
probably though.
I don't think this was as big of an issue when Saleh was here. Like last year, they led the league in defensive, and they don't lead in the league in it now, but the type of penalties they had, drive extenders. I mean, they really should have shut out the Bears, but the penalties are the reason they didn't. So I got to look at DeMeco on this one. I feel like this is his responsibility, and he's an excellent coordinator. He probably would be the head coach of the Vikings right now if he wanted the job, and he might be a head coach next year. But this is the next task, and he always fixes things he has to fix. So this, like, I don't know what it is. He was a player. Is he too buddy? Is he not authoritarian enough? He'll figure it out, but he just needs to make sure that they understand this is unacceptable. The Bears commit 3 penalties and the Niners commit 12, 6 from the defense. DeMeco can fix this, but I think this is one of the things that is the responsibility of a coordinator head coach. Kyle too, not just DeMeco, Kyle too, man. He's saying like, we really want to fix this. Okay, well, time's now. It's been an issue for more than a year. You guys are good coaches. Do it. It's like,
Penalties
because it's
always
not
got
just young guys. Don't say, well, we have a young team. No, it was Travarius Ward on third down. No. It's everyone. So come on, coaches. Find them. Do something.
I'm
Make
pretty
them
sure
sing
they're all
karaoke in front of the whole
happening.
team if they commit a penalty. You choose some songs.
I'm pretty sure they were all surprised too that it all happened between D'Amico and the Kyle. It's just like, dude, what the hell is going on today? And it's like, are they gonna try to like look at themselves in the mirror? I mean, not necessarily say it's my fault, but also like, hey, we gotta fix this. But just look it up and be like, we gotta fix this, guys. This is unfreaking acceptable. We can't do this next week. We had that game, sure, it was conditions, but they were playing in it too. Why weren't they committing penalties? We got to figure this out because there's no way in hell we got to do this any replication into Seattle.
I got a hot take. If you have a light training camp in order to keep people healthy and you don't play a lot of your players in preseason in order to keep people healthy, the flip side of that is you're going to have some sloppy play first half of the year. I mean, this is preseason for the 49ers. Did that not look like that was preseason football for the 49ers week one? Unfortunately, the Bears were ready for the regular season. They suck.
But same thing happened with the Broncos. Same thing happened with the Broncos. But the difference is it's a first-time head coach. Kyle Shanahan's not a first-time head coach.
Right.
D'Amico's not a first-time DC anymore.
Fix it now.
Like that's the difference there with that. Yeah. But also, you said if they commit a penalty, they're going to have to sing karaoke. At that point, Mike McGlinchey is going to get a holding every game.
Olivia Rodrigo. You got to sing Olivia Rodrigo in front of the whole team. And you got to mean it. You got to mean it.
Choreograph. You need
Craig David.
Choreograph too.
You got to sing Craig David. Best of Craig David from 1999. Hold on. Last topic, and then we'll take some questions. What percentage is the chance of the Niners losing to the Seahawks? Like, how likely is that? It could be raining. The Seahawks look pretty good.
It could be raining.
I mean, they got a good coach. They'll be ready for the game. I'll tell you that. I don't know how good they are, but they'll be ready.
I'll put a 25% chance of a loss. And that's only because I'm a little afraid of maybe there could be complacency of that last loss in terms of they don't take it serious. Maybe they think, all right, it was a rain game. We shot ourselves in the foot. We're good enough to like just beat a Seahawks team. It's all good. So maybe that complacency, because we have seen that team be complacent last year, going to Arizona, even 2020 degree. I know there's more injuries, but this team has known to just keep their heads up in the clouds and not be locked in. So that's the thing I'd be afraid of. And Seattle looked a little better than I anticipated. I know it was at home and it was the first game, and there's a lot of reasons to be motivated. But other than that, this should be a game they win by a score or more. I don't think Geno Smith is going to have the greatest game of all of his life as he did. And really the main way that Seattle won that game is the same way that 49ers lost that game, the way Leo put it. That's what I thought of exactly when I was watching that game. I was like, oh my God, I'm watching the Denver 49ers right now play this game where they're giving them all the momentum with all the penalties and the 2 goal line fumbles, which was ridiculous. So ultimately that just tells me like, look, just cut the crap, man. Don't be the penalty team that you were last week, because I didn't recognize who that team was. Be the team that you're supposed to be with playoff medal. Get no more than 3 to 4 penalties, especially the 15-yarders, because the 15-yard extenders that automatically first downs are the real killers. The 5-yarders, whatever, but the real ones are like the 15, 10-yarders that give automatic first downs.
Yeah, or just the automatic first downs on third down that you got off the field.
Buttoned up, and you will be Gucci next week.
Leo.
And to be, to counterpoint that, the Bears offense is definitely more potent than the Seahawks offense, in my opinion. When you have Justin Fields back there instead of Geno Smith, yes, Geno Smith may be more efficient in the passing game, but Justin Fields is a bigger threat that you got to worry about on a 3rd and 5 that he could just take off. But to answer,
is Geno Smith really going to dink and dunk the Niners to death? I have a hard time seeing that.
Exactly.
I have a hard time seeing
I think it's probably a 5%. I want to say 0, but any given Sunday, I'll put 5% here. And
Go 0.
It was the Bears. It was the Seahawks Super Bowl last week. It was their Super Bowl. They played on a Monday night. This team's riding high right now, but it's not high to a point to where they feel like no one can beat them. Like, no, that whole city celebrated for beating Russell Wilson. Richard Sherman celebrated. Doug Baldwin celebrated. So it's like that was their Super Bowl. And to think that they're going to come out and beat the 49ers in Santa Clara when they won a game off of what we call luck, football gods, maybe, having Denver fumble the ball at the goal line twice. Their head coach being a bonehead with a minute left and say, let me not have Russell Wilson go win this game in Seattle. I'll take
How many times were they at
the
the goal line and they totally blew it? The Broncos.
Twice.
They had no idea what to do with the goal line.
So,
they, as in Nathaniel Hackett.
So
Dumb.
it's just like with the 49ers, I don't see them playing as bad as they did in Chicago. Weather's going to be a big factor. Being at home is going to be another factor on that. And I don't think Seattle is as talented as the Bears. Look at the Bears. I told you guys they had Dominique Robinson that I liked as a rookie and Robert Quinn that obviously had an amazing year last season with the Chicago Bears. Seattle don't have two edge rushers like that. They don't. They have Diggs in there at safety and stuff, but like they don't have edge rushers, and that's going to be the biggest way a team could disrupt Trey Lance's game. They don't have that in Seattle. So I think it's like a 5%. I got the 49ers here.
Yeah, I mean, look, they just lost to the Bears, so I'm not going to be too like cavalier about this. I'll say like 20, 25%. I mean, any given Sunday, the Niners lost to the Seahawks twice last year, and they sucked. They still suck, in my opinion, but I mean, it's a divisional opponent. Look, if the Niners can't run the ball, if Kyle can't figure it out, if he can't find the hot-handed running back, the Niners are in trouble. But I think they will. I think the defense will play great. I think they're going to win this game. And I also think that what the Niners can do is, again, take shots early and sort of run the ball a little bit later when you have a lead. Don't wait until you're down to start throwing with Trey Lance. You can actually take some of those shots earlier. Take more shots down the field. Why not? So that'd be interesting. I think, I don't think they're going to lose this game. Gabe says, bring in Mike Bennett. Who? Mike Jones?
You were basically talking about the 49ers running the ball. Melvin Gordon on Monday, 4.8 yards per carry. Yeah. And Javonte Williams, 6.1
That's what I'm saying.
yards per carry.
They should be okay as long as they, just find the hot hand. It's Deebo's going to give you 8 good carries. That's good. Trey Lance going to give you 8 good carries. That's 16 right there. So now you just got to find 15 more. 15 more. It shouldn't be that hard. Just give everyone a few carries and see who looks good, and then by the hot hand. Come on, Kyle. You're a smart guy. Who is Mike Bennett? I don't know. Ethan M says
Michael Bennett. Isn't that who he's talking about? Yeah, from Seattle.
I'm thinking Martellus, the edge rusher from the Seattle Seahawks, 72.
Okay. All right. League and media creating a supervillain in Lance. He's like the nicest guy. Flav says, I guess. Trey didn't lose that game, but he made sure no one on our team would have an opportunity to win it with that awful INT. Looked like deer in headlights when momentum turned. Grant hit me with some excuses.
Yeah, Grant's up hitting with excuses. It's not like Jimmy G's thrown that pick millions of times.
Yeah, he threw that pick. I mean, that wasn't a good pick.
I didn't realize Trey Lance punched the football out on Deebo Samuel inside the 10 there. I didn't realize.
Did you see when he caused that face mask on Drake Greenlaw too that caused that touchdown?
Yeah, Deebo. What about Deebo's fumble? I mean, that wasn't good. Absolutely not. But
yeah, I didn't realize Trey Lance made Deebo fumble on that. That's weird. I didn't realize that Trey Lance was supposed to cover Dante Pettis in a broken play. I guess that's on Trey Lance as well.
I didn't think he looked a deer in the headlights when the moment turned either. Again, what I thought was Kyle choked when Elijah Mitchell went out. When Elijah Mitchell went out, he had no run. He couldn't find a running back that worked. And so all of a sudden he went to the Jimmy offense, which was short passes over the middle. And Trey hit his first 2. He hit Dwelly, he hit Jennings, and then Kyle went back to it a third time and got picked. And I think that's a really bad way to call plays for Trey. If you avoid the middle of the field as much as possible, that won't happen. And I think that's what we're going to see in the future. More throws to Ayuk outside the numbers, more throws to Gray and McLeod and Ayuk down the field. So, I hear you. But I do think, I guess my excuse would be Kyle didn't call a good game in the second half. What he called in the first half was on point. His adjustments were not good.
That's what we talked about last week, Grant. It's like it's not so much what Trey's going to have to do, but it's so much was Kyle going to set him up in a right position and give him the chances to be successful. He's going to make him like in a comfortable offense, and then boom, just like that, you got the case of the lemon booty. Went back to the Jimmy G offense.
That's true, lemon booty. That's true. My egotistic aura says 50 layups is better than 33 points. Thanks.
Okay, so
That's
it takes Yeah, it takes
So
20 more.
33 pointers equals more.
Yeah,
What?
he takes 20. Swan Songs is a new member. Thank you. You're an old member, though. Big Tone says Trey will be fine. I'm optimistic. Can Kyle use more than one back at a time, though, or no? Or not? I'm going to ask him, hey, Kyle, can you use more than one back at a time or not?
Or nah. Or
Nah.
not. I
Like that. Put that emphasis on nah, though.
Remember
sure
when that
he
was
knows
meme like
that
10 years
when you say
ago?
Make sure
He
he knows
would
that
have-
when you say it, you mean nah is italicized.
Or not?
Kyle would have the most annoyed look on the face. Like, did Grant just ask me or
He'll
not?
chuck the podium at him at that point. Get out of here, stupid.
You got to be professional. It's too bad. Just overuses the running back one with no fresh carries for RB2. What gives? I don't know, man. It's so strange. They should have kept Raheem Mostert just as a change of pace back he trusted.
I thought
Sad
they
will have to
would've,
give
to
up
be
the
honest.
season to save face. Man, what are you talking about? You're tripping. Don't bother me. New member. Hey, the Jimmy Garoppolo fans are so lame. Can I just say that? They're like, hey, we suck. Like, dude, shut up. Sorry, that's how I feel. You're rooting for a backup quarterback who's now a career backup quarterback. Like, wear that with pride.
The
Dude,
only
I mean,
one who
people
should
like
be
the-
rooting for Jimmy Garoppolo is probably Subway, since they spent so much marketing money on him. It's
What
probably
other
about
backup
it.
quarterback has a marketing deal, has endorsements?
Blows my mind.
Is the hot Italian sub at Subway the backup sub now? Is it the backup? Scott Hill is the new YouTube member. Thank you, Scott.
Sorry,
David, the
we're out of
prankster,
tuna,
said-
but we got a good backup here.
Got to consider the win-loss ratio of when Seattle comes to our house. We find ways to lose to them. Haven't been a consistent rival since Alex Smith. Yeah. If the Niners defense can't handle Geno Smith, I forget everything you thought you knew about this team.
For me,
we've seen the Niners struggle with Justin Fields and guys like that. Justin Fields, I mean, they can't keep mobile guys in the pocket. They run that wide 9 thing. They get Eric Armstead in the perimeter. Armstead starts diving at people's ankles and all bets are off. But against Geno, oh my God. Geno's made to order for this freaking defense, I think. Unless down is up and right is left and green is blue.
for me,
Dogs
it's
are
just
cats.
like,
I don't know.
who was the starter for Seattle those games? Russell Wilson. He's not
Yeah, the guy who
Seattle
breaks the
quarterback
pocket.
no more.
Yes.
He's not the
Yeah.
guy. He's not there no more. So, like, I can't just go off of that history the past 9 years when that guy's not there.
How many quarterbacks can really beat this Niners defense from the pocket? How many? Brady.
Josh Allen.
Not Aaron Rodgers, apparently.
Not Aaron Rodgers, no.
Not Aaron Rodgers,
Aaron
apparently.
Rodgers.
Josh Allen gets outside the pocket at will. So does Mahomes. I mean, a guy who just
True.
can't get outside the pocket but can carve up. It's Tom Brady.
Burrow
Maybe
Burrow
prime
lost.
Peyton Manning. Who?
Burrow lost last year.
Yeah, Burrow lost. Mac Jones isn't going to do it. Like, dude, Geno, good luck. Really enjoy this week, though. This is a big week for you. Sorry. All right, that's the show. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks, everyone, for joining. My name's Grant. That's Jose, Leo. Hope you enjoyed our insights and energy today.
Energy.
My name's Grant.
My name's Grant. I'm really excited to be here.
Is that what you
Hold on. Daryl says, do you think Kyle is going to put Greenlaw in the doghouse? No, they love Greenlaw. They love that guy. Greenlaw needs to rein it in a little bit, man. He was doing way too much. He did way too much.
And the whiff tackle. It's also the non-plays he made without penalties. He whiffed some. God, he was just.
Yeah, the
And I
non-penalty.
think
so out of
probably-
control.
he was the main culprit on the second touchdown. I think the one to St. Brown. I think that was his busted coverage. Kyle talks in 3 hours, 2.5. So, and then Trey talks after him.
12:30.
Huh?
12:40. 12:40.
12:40. So yeah, Trey talks after him. Open locker room, yada yada yada. We'll see. Oh, and practice is Kittle going to be there? What do you think? Guess Kittle. Yes. No. There.
No. It's Wednesday,
Yes.
so I'm going to go with no.
You think yes? I'm thinking no, but we'll see. Chris, I base it
Yeah,
on
for
nothing.
warm-ups only.
Chris Grove says, not you, Grant. Media wants to tear down Trey, not passer rating, but QBR. Trey had a better QBR in week 1 than 17 QBs, including all QBs that were drafted last year. Well, hey, how about that? I didn't know that.
That's another stat.
And Mike Moore
Hashtag
said he doesn't
fine.
do anything well. All right, guys,
Weird.
that's the show. Stop giving me money. Thank you very much. I'll be back tonight, Niners After Dark. See ya.